Showtime. We are live. Hello, everybody. We are beaming live. Just talking to the gang, people who are inside the LinkedIn and Business Mastermind, sort of referred to as the Mastermind now. I feel like it's going to be like the Adele of Masterminds. It's just the Mastermind. That's it. It doesn't really need its own name, which is cool. And I just thought we'd just have a little get together so we can talk about your experiences inside the program, but also what the program's done for your experiences outside of the program, right? It's about taking action and getting results, right? So, Jane, do you want to introduce yourself, tell people who you are, and let's hear your story.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Jane Foray and I help HR directors to exit people from their business with dignity and grace through my one-to-one outplacement program.
Nice. So you help people leave companies.
I help people exit with their head held high and, managing all the emotions around that and deciding what they want to do next in their life, whether that's moving on to another job, a bigger job, a smaller job, no job, a business, whatever. So I help them with that transition.
But really, you help HR directors remove the headache of having to do that themselves.
Get rid of people, move the problem, get rid of throw money at it, and just get rid of it, because these people are like well poisoners in a business. When there's people, we just need to get rid of them. So bringing me in just sends a really clear signal that this is it, show's over, kid, and shows a great game.
And the silent assassin is here, and she's going to exit you stage left, but with grace and ease, which is good.
Dignity and grace.
Dignity and grace. I like that. We all want that, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So tell me your Helen story.
So I actually came across you through someone that I worked with. So I was in corporate land for a long time. I worked at BA for almost 20 years, mostly in HR roles. And what I did from about 2011 onwards is I started training as a coach internally at BA. So we have a kind of team of coaches that would go internally and coach the leaders in the business. I knew I wanted to leave. I thought I'll get BA to pay for my coach training and I will use this at some point in the future. So I've kind of been doing it then. And in a group, I actually met somebody who was doing their coaching training. So I was kind of her, stooge, like what do you call them? Like a sort of, someone she kind of practices her coaching with.
Okay, yeah.
And she too left a different business, and you did a guest expert slot in her group.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. So I'm from Manchester. I live down south, and I loved your refreshing northernness. Like a spade is a spade, right? Because people down here, they sort of faff around the edges, especially HR people. And I was just like, oh my God, this is all I need to hear. Because by this point, I've left BA. I've got another job. That became redundant 8 months later. So within 12 months, I've had 2 redundancies. I've gone, I don't want to work for these people anymore. I want to do my own thing. I want to set up my own coaching business, but I don't know how to start a business. I know how to coach. I know how to do all businessy things, but I don't know how to get clients. And you kind of came along at the right time in this group, and LinkedIn was something I'd used in BA. So I kind of ran LinkedIn on behalf of BA, and I was like, this is like, I love this platform. I'm familiar with this. It's all the other stuff that's really new to me. Like, how do I get clients? Which is actually the same thing as we were doing in BA, because in BA, it was like, how do we build a warm talent pipeline using LinkedIn? It's the same thing using LinkedIn now for me and building my business. And I started doing kind of what you recommended. And then you launched the mastermind. I think it was one of the, it wasn't the very first one. I think it was like the second one.
Really?
And I was really nervous, and I want to put this out there to these people who are thinking like about the money thing, because I worked for corporate, right? I'd never spent money on my own personal development ever. And I was kind of like, oh my God, this is really expensive. And I think it was about a similar price that it is now.
Yeah.
So,
It's always been between £1,000 and £2,000, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
and I was like, oh God. So, kind of, well, I've got this redundancy pay, which I'd gone and spent and bought a house overseas. That disappeared. But what had happened was I'd got a tax refund. And I'd literally, so I think it was about £3,000 or something. And I was like, this is like a sign. I did see it as a sign. I was like, this is a sign. So I don't like paying stuff on monthly thing. I'd rather just pay and get in and sort it. I could have technically afforded it, but it was like I saw this tax refund as a sign, and I was like, right, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna get in and just follow the stuff. And I almost let myself be guided by you in terms of I just tell me what to do. I was at that point.
The process, yeah.
Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I just did what you told me to do. And, guess what? People started to notice. And, and it's not been like, my business hasn't been all plain sailing. I literally stepped out of my business for probably about 9 months, like last year with COVID. I lost a couple of contracts in COVID and my mum was quite sick. So I did kind of step away. But the brilliant thing about the mastermind is you can just step back in and you can just start again from the beginning. And I'm actually, right now I'm working with a client, which is why I have to disappear. So I'm on a retainer basis with a client in the Middle East right now, which is super nice because they've kind of all gone home in the next hour, and that leaves me time in the afternoon to work with my one-on-one clients. But I've actually stopped posting on LinkedIn because I've got enough clients right now. So it's brilliant. You can turn it on, you can turn it off, you can change direction, you can do something else. It doesn't matter. But it's almost like this constant in my business. I know that when I need help, I just open the portal, go to the business clarity, start doing the things, right? Start doing the things. And I know
basics, So you've been in my world for years, not months, like years. We've been working together.
So I think it was 2018, I think it was. September 2018,
That's 5 years we've known each other and we're working together. That's a long time. And all the way through COVID as well, like having to, just having to step up and lead that community through COVID was really challenging for everybody. But it was just, I was so glad I had it. I feel like it really helped me as much as anyone else. And I think it's exciting. So obviously we're in launch right now and it's just everyone's introducing themselves and coming in. And, to me, they are people on a spreadsheet, just like you were someone on a spreadsheet, 5 years ago. But I know that these people on a spreadsheet, and when they come in and they introduce themselves, it's like, just don't know where they're going to be in 5 years. But I know I'll still be, hopefully part of their world. So it's really great to be in a long-standing program like this. I think I see a lot of things pop up and go away, and and people change direction a lot. And I think I've had a go at changing direction a couple of times and then just kind of come straight back to this because I love it. Like, I really love it. Even now, like I love it. Like this week, I was like, I want to do more lives, more calls, talk to more people, let me speak to more people, because it's just that I just know it works. Could you put a figure on it, Jane, do you reckon? Could you put a figure on what you've got out of LinkedIn?
Out of the mastermind? Well, I mean, from this one client in the Middle East, that is about 50 grand to date.
Not bad. ROI on the £1,000 you put in 5 years ago. I mean, you're gonna to like treble, quadruple that, I would have thought. Just people messaging you, and they do, don't they, Jane? They just message you and say, hi, I saw your post, or you asked me to connect. Like, how do we do this? Like, I can see what you can do for me. Like, how do we work together? And
it's not just about business either, because one of my kind of longer term plans is to move overseas. So my husband is from Mauritius. Now, I'm now a mentor with the Mauritius IOD Women in Leadership Program. Through LinkedIn. So I found that through LinkedIn. So they're quite active on there as an organization. And I just made a comment. And, when people then go and look at my profile, they can, because of all the content that was right at the time, and my profile is looking shit hot, it kind of creates other opportunities. Now, I'm a great believer in the power of weak ties, and you know, you never know where things are going to lead. And I just think by me doing that, and that's the meeting that I've got straight after this, I have a mentoring meeting with one of the women, but there's like, you know, I've had, you know, I'm having lunch with the CEO there, you know, and I'm going to all the events when we're out there, and you just never know where those things might take you.
Yeah, it's exciting. And again, like I say about people who join my program, it's like, where's this going to go for me, for them, for us, for, you know, the wider community? It's the same every time I ask somebody to connect on LinkedIn. I'm like, who's this person? You know, how could our relationship develop? Where could this lead? Who might they know? You know, where could this go? You know, and I think that holding on to that excitement of like possibility, I think LinkedIn is really powerful for that, because it's kind of like everyone you meet is normally like a good person, influential in some way, is doing something in their own little silo, and you just get to bring all these people together. And like you say, those dots connect. It's like it's like traditional networking, except it's on massively on steroids. It's completely international. You don't have to leave your house to do it. It doesn't cost you any money. I mean,
and if ever I need somebody to help me with something, so if ever I need, you know, a web person or a copywriter, the first place I go to is the LinkedIn Mastermind group.
Yeah,
because it's almost like my trusted circle, and then I can kind of see that, you know, names appear to me because I'm familiar with the name. So I would say if anyone's thinking about joining, it's like join and be really active in the group.
Yeah.
So that people get to know you. I mean, the stuff I do, people in the group don't really buy, but you know, if you're like a VA or a website designer, a copywriter, or something, I would be super active in the group, because you will get a lot of business that way, I think.
Yeah, and I actively encourage that. Like, I mean, you can't pitch to people, but I actively encourage people to be really, really, you know, really vocal and contribute loads to the community. A, because it makes the community better, but also because it helps other people see who they are and obviously more likely to buy. And you're dead right. If you've got something you sell to small businesses, entrepreneurs, it's a no-brainer, because you've got 2,000 people in there who are going to buy. And even if you do things like fitness, or there's loads of, you know, I see people buying things around like mindset and anxiety, or hypnotherapy, or losing 10 pounds. Like, there's loads of other things that people will buy that isn't just necessarily B2B. And I think, and you don't know who the people in the group know. So it is a much smaller like community. But like you say, people say, even things like having a helping headline, people recognize each other out in the wilderness of LinkedIn. And I think people say, oh, I'm in Helen's mastermind. I say, oh, so am I. And then, you know, I know people meet up and stuff like that. So that's really exciting for me, because obviously this is just something I started on a whim 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think you should be really proud. And I think for me as well, it's like I miss that, having a team, you know. So I've worked in corporate for 20 years. I like being part of a team. That's the bit that I really struggle with still now, like as a solopreneur. And even like the Monday calls, I don't frequently come online like this, but if I'm having my lunch, I will be having it on in the background. I will always watch it, and there's always a little something that I will glean from it. So it's like those Monday calls are such a brilliant kind of point at the beginning of the week that just kind of gives you a poke up the back.
And it's very much about like, just show up and listen. You don't have to show up and talk. You just show up and listen, and just have it as like the company-wide meeting on a Monday. Yeah, have your camera off, but just
all hands.
Everyone's in the meeting, so come and see. And people always do get something out of it. Yeah, listening.
For sure.
I love that. Right, Jane, I'm going to let you go because you've got a busy call with.
I'm going to stay for a little bit, and then I'll just exit stage left.
Brilliant. Well, we've got Michelle here as well, so let's bring her in on stage. There's Michelle. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing?
I'm so sorry I'm late.
No, don't worry. It's all right.
I was having my roots done. Very important.
Very important. Yeah. Not seen you for ages. Right, I'll come back to you, Michelle. You all right for time, yeah?
Yes, I'm good, thanks.
All right, amazing. Right, Vicky Jakes, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. Congrats on an awesome week so far. You must be exhausted.
Yeah, no, I'm still like absolutely buzzing, so I'm fine. Ask me again on Monday.
Yes, next week.
I was like,
check the energy levels next week.
Yeah, I'll be able to chill at the weekend. And then she was like, no, we've got a cup final, we've got a baby shower, we've got this, we've got that. So I was like, okay, cool. So Monday is my day of rest.
Spa day Monday.
How would you describe your story, your Helen story, Vicky?
I have a slightly different story than everyone else. It's not quite as linear. I didn't buy the LinkedIn Mastermind and come in that way, if you recall. I joined your challenge, I think it was a June challenge back in 2019. So I'm sort of competing with Jane there for longevity. And I loved it so much because I'd really been trying to find a way of like connecting with people in the same way that you connected with me during that challenge week. And I had such a great week. I did all the tasks. I was really good. And then I got on a call and I managed to book a call with you back when you used to do calls. And I said to you, look, I'm not going to buy the LinkedIn Mastermind. I want to follow you. I want to know how you do everything. That was the impact that you had on me. And at the time, you had what would then become the Business Mastermind in its infancy. It was called
What Would Helen Do?
What Would Helen Do? Yeah, What Would Helen Do? And I joined that. So that's how I came into your world. And then, of course, what happens when you come into Helen's world is it you never leave. I really enjoyed being in What Would Helen Do. It didn't last forever, but then what happened was around the following year, I ended up being part of the inaugural Catalyst Mastermind.
Yes,
and really, being part of your world to a kind of a higher level, really. So I sort of came in as a coach in the Business Mastermind, a mentor, and then like in the past year as a coach in the LinkedIn Mastermind. So I didn't have the conventional route in, but I've definitely invested a lot more, and I've got so much more back from being part of your world. And without gushing, this, like, you were able to help me kind of get out of the weeds. So I wasn't the motivation to post every day, and just sort of hanging out in your world enabled me to do that and take my knowledge to then be able to kind of coach the group as well. So people will see me in the group once a month on a Monday, and which I love doing it. I really do.
Having you doing it,
yeah, I love doing it. My flavor is slightly different. I love talking about LinkedIn, of course I do. Like, LinkedIn's been very good to me for the past few years, but I love talking about the business side of things. And that's, I feel like that's the secret that people don't talk about with the LinkedIn Mastermind so much, is they think it's just all LinkedIn. And actually, I can show my route into your world was, I wasn't necessarily worried too much about LinkedIn. It was like the business side and what to learn from you about how to take fast action, the processes you have and the frameworks that you have that allow people just to get started and get out of their own way. And just talking about business in general. And that's a real secret of the group that I think people only realize once they're in, is actually it's a community where you can just talk to other business owners, sometimes about non-LinkedIn stuff as well. So that's my way in. It was slightly sideways, wasn't it?
Yeah, I love that though. And then, I mean, look at us now. Look where we're at now. She's amazing. So do you want to talk a bit about Social Ad Squad?
Yeah. Well, so one of the things that I joined Catalyst for was that I knew I was running a membership business at the time and doing consultancy work on the side. And the pandemic was really good for business. It was great, but I kind of knew that wave would go at some point. I knew it in my heart of hearts. So I joined Catalyst because I wanted to like big up the revenue in that, and then look at other, entrepreneurial ideas. And I just kept coming back to this old idea of, like, I'm an ex-agency person, so I've worked in digital marketing agencies for a long, long time, to create my own agency. And I'd done so well growing my own membership business with ads, Facebook ads in particular, that people kept asking me, can you do it for me? I was like, well, I'm not really meant to. I mean, I've got this website membership, come and join that. But I don't know, the stars aligned, and I sort of blurted out to everyone in Catalyst, I'm going to start an agency, I think. And you know, have been honoured and lucky enough that you've been part of that journey as well, and we've been able to help the LinkedIn Mastermind grow together with the leads that we pull into the challenge together as well. And yeah, it's a year and a half later, and we're smashing it, really, you know, on for kind of $250,000 revenue, only after being in business 18 months, and, you know, working with some amazing clients. And it's definitely the business I wanted when I first chatted to you all those years ago, 4 years ago, or whatever it was. So it's been a blast so far.
Oh, not only just getting started as well, right? Only just
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I think I'm maybe I've got a slight advantage, right? Because I come from an agency background, I know how it works and everything like that. But I only want to work with small businesses in this agency. We don't want to work with big corporates. We want to help people like the people in the LinkedIn Mastermind, you know, who are like founder-led solopreneurs, perhaps don't know how to get started with ads. And for a lot of people in your world, organic is so important, but they kind of tend to stop at the ads point. Oh, I can't do that. But that's a really big part of the puzzle for how you grew to £1 million turnover, annual turnover business as well. And it's great that I'm able to kind of be part of that and be able to help people in your world if they want to know more about ads as well.
Yeah, amazing. Well, you know, I just create the space. It's the people that come into it that make it what it is, and the people who take action and get the results. So, I mean, you got to take the credit.
Thank you very much. I do love what I do very much, and Facebook ads are still better than ever. You guys, you might not have heard it, but I think like the challenge Helen did last week is just testament to, you know, we were able to go out and find people who've never heard of you, which I find unbelievable. Jane's laughing. How have people not heard of you yet? But they come into the challenge and they're like, oh, I didn't know who you were. Yeah. So that's always a fun challenge, is to go out and find people. And we're bringing more American and Canadian people in now who are like, why is she talking like that? You know, which always cracks me up as well. But it's brilliant. Like, we're able to kind of start reaching overseas people successfully as well. And I love it.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, organic will take you so far, and then ads take you to the next level, in my experience anyway. And again, I only teach what I know, you know. So people, you can do it organically, but it's a tough slog. Believe me, I know. So I've done it all the different kinds of way. Whereas ads is fun and easy and enjoyable.
Oh, I love it. But that's the thing about the mastermind, right? Is that especially if people are watching and thinking, well, you know, I'm actually like quite far gone. I've got some traction in my business. This sounds like it's quite basic and not for me. That's just not true, because in the mastermind, there's so many more next level businesses as well who've perhaps been in your world for a couple of years, and they are doing like lead generation activities, like running ads, or PR, or kind of like next level stuff. So there's definitely something to learn from kind of all walks of life in there, because there's just so many people, so many different businesses.
Yeah, I did have someone say to me once, it just seems very basic, like it's just for beginners. Like, is there anybody in there who's really successful? And I was like, well, I'm in there. Like, you might want to learn a thing or two from me, because everything I do, I teach, you know. So when we get this launch done, so this was a really exciting launch for me for loads of different reasons. And, you know, I will go back to the mastermind and I will review the launch, and I will tell everyone how it went, what went well, what didn't go well, like, you know, what it felt like, and, you know, what the results were. And I think that's important information if it's something that you're thinking about doing, even if it's to think I never want to do that in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you definitely lead with a do as I say, but also watch what I do approach as well. And I feel like the people who listen to you and do the work, great, but then if they watch you, and this is what I did 4 years ago, I was watching you going, this challenge group is amazing, the approach is amazing, I want to know everything about this process. And you know, and I you let me in, which was amazing. So
yeah, well, this is it. I think I'm a teacher by nature. I was saying this on a call the other day. It's like the first time I ever taught anyone anything was at a baby massage class. So I had, 6 new mums staring at me with the newborn babies. And I was like, right, this is how we're going to do this. And I remember being so nervous, but the buzz of somebody looking at you and actually taking something, knowledge from you, which is going to then help them. I was hooked from that minute on. And I was just like, for me, it's all about teaching. So it's like, yeah, I could probably just run an e-commerce type business. Like you said, we could get you on board, we could be blah, blah, blah. But that's not going to help the ripple effect, is it? That's not going to help more people have more success and more business. And I'd love to know how much money we've made, and people have made out of the who've been in the mastermind. We could make something up, but it'd be tens of millions, I would have thought. And that's really my legacy piece, isn't it? It's not just about me making millions of pounds, it's about everyone else taking it and running with it. And the other thing is, it's not about everyone who wants to make millions of pounds either. Someone else asked about this week, which I thought was a great question. Is that, yeah, you're showcasing your best people, obviously, because that's marketing. But they're probably your top 10%. So what about everyone else? And I was like, it's a great question. And I said, most people do come in at the 2 to 3 a month mark, and they want to go to the 5 to 6 and up to 10 a month. But adding 2 to 3 grand a month onto your income is life changing. So.
And I think the approaches that you have with marketing and visibility and sales, right? Because there's a framework attached to it, and it feels very step by step. A lot of people who do want to create a new life for themselves, or go out on their own, or leave their corporate career, and they don't have experience of that, can do that with ease. It's then on them to find the motivation and the energy to do it. So the framework is there, like, and that's where you come in, because the accountability and the kind of getting on the bus vibe, that is something that they can overcome themselves being in the group. That it's not about the how-to. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think people who are really new will get loads out of it. They will find enough success to pay the bills, definitely.
Yeah, and that is my legacy piece, isn't it? I do attract a lot of people who are in a lot of debt or in a lot of financial difficulty, because obviously that's part of my story, and that's okay. Like we all go together, and that's why my proudest thing really is that my business is built on the fact that the people who are ready and able and willing to invest, they fund the business so that I can then do all of my stuff for free, all of my challenges for free, all my content for free, all of my, download, all that kind of stuff that goes out for free. Yeah, plus it's marketing. But if you think 97% of people, 95 to 97 people buy, that don't buy, it's like I'm still helping more people than I'm selling to, so it's almost like, yeah, of course. But as soon as if I do £100,000 in revenue because all these people have decided they want to invest in working with me, think of all the people that are out there in the wild, if you like, with the education that they've had. Like, we give enough for people to go and make some money, and people do, and then they come back. So yeah, the business model works really well for me, and my savior complex of
philosophy. Call it a philosophy.
Trying to save the world because of the trauma I was in. I would say 10 years ago me, but let's say probably more like 15 years ago, 20 years ago me. But you never forget it, so you're always trying to help people. So thanks, Vicky. That's really a concise summary. Jane,
I'm going to disappear.
Bye, darling. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Joe Stimson, welcome to my ideal client personified. Joe Stimson, came into my world like a wrecking ball, bought everything, signed up for the lot, never quibbles on anything, gets the work done. Introduce yourself, Joe. Love it.
Yeah, so my story is again a little bit different. I was a lurker. I sat and watched for a long time, probably back to the 2018, 2019 times. I absolutely loved the hours-long live with wines that just never seemed to end, that were absolutely hysterical. And I just really liked you as a person. So every time there was a challenge, I would sign up for the challenge, and I probably did bits and bats. And then after through lockdown, it was after that I was leaving my 19-year career in a corporate position where I was the managing director, sales director and owner, and was looking to do something else. So that was the challenge, that 2021 first challenge was the one that I really was like, I really need to understand this, because I'm putting the principles in place. I'm doing what Helen says. I'm getting leads. So I was selling a very niche product, electric underfloor heating, very niche, but very competitive market into the electrical industry and construction. So it would give me leads, it would get me people to talk to. It was a really kind of easy process for me to build my personal brand. So within that role that I had a hashtag go to Joe, and that kind of picked up very quickly. So everywhere I went, it was like, oh, go to Joe, we need to talk to you about. So that really helped me, you know, from a personal branding point of view. So once I'd left my position, I set up a business within the floristry industry that was very short-lived, and Helen was drafted in at that point to be like, okay, I'm going to need a coach. I think I want it to be you. Tell me what you've got. And Helen kind of laid it all out on the table. So Mastermind Days, Catalyst, joined the mastermind, and I was like, just tell me where to pay. I just need you to come in for 12 months and help me build something from scratch using what you know. I'm willing to do the work. I'll put in 100%, but just kind of point and shoot me, and I'll come back and go, what's next? And that's really what we've been doing for the first 3 months of the year. It was very quick to understand that the floristry business wasn't what I thought it would be, what I'd hoped it would be, and what 8 months of research had led me to believe it to be. So at the last mastermind day, which was at the beginning of March, I made the decision that that was it, closing that business down, to then set up and try to help MD-led businesses. So basically people that are in my position, so MD-led businesses that really need a neutral pair of eyes to look at their framework, look at their revenue. And we set up this 5P process, which looks at the people, the products, their processes, their pricing or profit. And then we added a bit on the end, which was really the magic ingredient and the thing that I feel I made the difference in my business, which is polish. So to really get them to understand their USP, so that they can really highlight it. And then within their LinkedIn profiles, they can project that with some real good personal branding behind it and get people to hook onto their personality. Because that's basically how I ran my last business. It was a personality-based business. The people were the key. The fact that we were talking about that product, we could have been talking about anything and the principles would have been the same. So yes, I guess I am Helen's ideal client in a way. Catalyst has been amazing. We get to meet in person next week, but the people within on my time now have been so supportive and been absolutely amazing and really tried to help me. So from putting out that this is kind of what I want to do, I want to go back to a sales point of view. I've got 5 clients already that I'm working with at different stages of their business, and yeah, I'm loving it. It's coming together. It felt a bit wobbly for a while, but it feels like it's coming together now.
Pure value, joy, profit. That was the framework, wasn't it? That we just ran the floristry thing through, and it was like, you said it. You actually said it. I said, I'm not getting any joy. No. So that was it. It was like, right, it's got to go. Damn. And that's that. And making bold, brave decisions is actually Joe's specialty. So coachable. Fantastic. Go and do this thing. Come back. What's next? Go and do this thing. Come back. It was really great. And got so much done. Joe got more done in 7 or 8 months than most people do in 7 or 8 years, if ever. So it was really good to see that scale, grow, stop. It was really fascinating, because a lot of people would just keep going and going and going and just make themselves very unhappy, which wasn't an option. And now to see the value, joy, profit all starting to balance, and really the way that LinkedIn has helped you every step of that way,
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
You just go through the framework again, don't you? You go, right, well, new headline, new profile, new type of content, connect with new people. We just go in a new direction. Like I say, we just reposition, we go. And I think that's the longevity of the program is because of that. I think it's not like a one-trick pony. It's like a solid framework that works no matter what your business, and no matter whether you decide you get up in the morning and be like, that's it, I'm not doing that anymore, I'm doing this now, and this becomes me, and go forward. So really powerful story.
Yeah, consistency, you know, that's the word that I kind of cling to. It is that consistency, it is that keep showing up, that, you know, that was proved in the hashtag Go to Joe. The fact that the content was there, that I was showing up, that I was in the rooms, that people could only have got that hashtag from my content on LinkedIn. There was absolutely no way. It was, you know, people I'd never met coming up to the room and going, that's you, you know, because I'd been putting out the content.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And now, you know, a bit like Vicky, we're all enmeshed and embedded in each other's lives and businesses, which is amazing. And it's just a joy just to see what happens next. I've got no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. Apart from moving into Helen's house, I'm very much in Helen's world. I'm like a lodger that's just turned up that she can't shake off quite yet. So.
I love it. I'm there for it. Absolutely there for it. It was like the next mastermind day. It's like names on a spreadsheet. These are the people who are interested. These are the people that are paid. One, Joe. It's like Joe, always. First on the spreadsheet.
Mastermind days are magical. It is absolutely amazing.
The mastermind days are magical, literally magical. Love it. Right. Anyway, getting all the goosebumps. Okay, so Ollie's backstage. Let's bring Ollie in. But first, let's talk to the lovely Michelle. Not seen you for ages. How are you doing?
I just hide in the background.
So Michelle Stevens was talking about you on WhatsApp yesterday. So a lady said to me, I'm in network marketing. Ollie, put you. I don't know how to put people on mute or not. There you go. Muted. Have I muted him? Sounds like something's crashing about in Ollie's thing. I've muted you. I don't know how to unmute you. I'll do it in a bit. So she said, "Is it going to be for me though?" She felt uncomfortable joining because she thought it wouldn't be for her. Michelle.
Yeah, that's where I come in. So I've been in network marketing for 10 years in September, which is crazy. Yeah, I know. It's our 21st anniversary today of the company, so that's really cool as well. So, and I went on to LinkedIn mainly because I'd been in the industry for, it was May 2019, I went on to LinkedIn with 23 connections and no idea what I was doing. But I did have a background in the fact that I'd built my business on Facebook. Yeah. I just thought I'd do the same thing. That was the technique behind my approach. And the reason I went onto that platform was because I'd exhausted my Facebook friends and I was really struggling to find that same kind of generation of leads. But I'd always been good at that on Facebook, but I was finding that difficult. So I thought I'll try a new platform. And I kind of just stumbled onto LinkedIn. I had no idea, but I knew I had to add to my network. I knew I had to engage on my social media, on my platform, and I knew I had to post content. What I thought I didn't need to do was to show me, because I understood LinkedIn as a business platform. And you get that, it's not Facebook. And I was like, okay, it's not Facebook, so I just have to be just business. And actually, I was messaging new contacts, just saying, hey, thanks for the connection. I'm not someone that ever wanted to go and directly prospect. So I'd found a way I could create leads to me. And someone actually recommended Helen, and that there was a 5-day challenge literally starting on the Monday. So I was like, okay, I'll just sign up. I had no idea what I was doing. No idea who Helen was. I'd never met her before in my life. I didn't know anybody. It was Georgina, and she said, join this challenge. And I was like, okay, I will. So I joined this challenge, and the first thing, obviously, day one was the headline. I'm trying to remember it all now, and all the different. It is the headline, isn't it? Day one.
Wednesday's the headline, but day one is the planning. Yeah.
Well, I kind of did them all in one day.
Right.
So I kind of caught up. I didn't join any of the Facebook lives. I still didn't really know who Helen was until I watched the videos. And I literally went through, I'm very much a red personality. So I'm like, I need something quick and fast. And what I liked was those 5-day challenges. It's like 3, 4, 5-minute videos with a task, and I'll go and do it. So I went and did it. And Helen will remember, within like just doing that 5-day challenge, went from no leads on my LinkedIn to in 6 weeks, I had 358. And it was like mind blowing. And I was like, how has this even happened? And I remember messaging Helen saying, I was on the way to an event actually, and I was messaging Helen saying, I'm in network marketing. Everyone told me not to go on LinkedIn. I've gone on there and this has happened. I didn't join the mastermind at the time. And I was like, oh my God, this has happened. And she was like, oh my God, I've been wanting to find someone who's in network marketing who loves this program and gets the benefits from it. And what Helen did was she gave me permission to do what I already kind of knew what to do. And people had told me I was posting too many times. Helen was like, no, just post as many times as you want. Yeah. Engage as many times as you want. At the time, we could add as many people as we wanted.
Remember those days? Good old days.
I literally did it on a big scale, on a massive, massive scale. And I then became a part of the mastermind. I then joined Helen because she asked me to as being a network marketing coach. We collaborated and produced a LinkedIn for network marketers kind of boot camp, but the mastermind being the kind of main thing, but just a little taster specific to network marketers. And that was, as I say, November 2019, 2020. And my entire leads, maybe 90% of my leads still come from LinkedIn now. And yeah, it still does. And what you said about Joe changing businesses and what LinkedIn is really forgiving. So I've led with the business. Then I've led with the product when lockdown happened and people were more looking around nutrition and healthy living. And I felt uncomfortable talking money at that time. And that worked. Then we launched a new product range in beauty and I changed it to that. And then I've changed it to menopause. And every time I've done that, it's not changed my lead generation. It's the same principles. And that's what I really like. In terms of what I've achieved from it, I mean, I was probably earning 40, 50 grand a year previously, maybe a little bit less. It depended each year, but generation of leads and customers, I was averaging about 8 customers a month, which was quite high in the company. For the last 2 years, I've earned over 6 figures, and I've won 2 awards for being top enroller in the company, which I know Helen knows. And last year, 2 of my team also won the top 5 enrollers in the entire company, all doing the same principles. Because the other thing that I really like about the LinkedIn program is that I use those same principles on Facebook, on Instagram, I haven't quite mastered TikTok, but the principles are the same. There's just slight nuances according to the platform, but the actual step-by-step what you do each day, which is so easy, but we make it complicated, is the same on each platform. So I've been able to take that information, make my Facebook better. And I went onto Instagram last year and have built a following on there and getting leads from there as well. So that in a nutshell is my last 4 years, I suppose, which is crazy. 23 connections to 24,000 now. And I don't really try and add that anymore.
I love that. I mean, network marketing has got a bad name. Let's just put that straight out there. Terrible, awful, right? Terrible name. Some of it deserved, but mainly because of the marketing techniques that they teach, right?
100%. And it's not the industry, it's the people doing it.
It's not the industry, it's the people doing it, the people trading it. I would love to get into every company and teach the world how to do network marketing this way. I really would. But actually, I found that I've been knocking on doors and getting nowhere because I think people they've been a bit late because there's a lot of this internal training, isn't it? Which is fine. But for you to go and start making over 100 grand a year from network marketing and getting 90% of your leads from LinkedIn, I mean, that's life-changing for you, isn't it? For anybody?
Yeah, 100%. I'm a single mum and there's only my income. My ex doesn't contribute to the household at all. And I'm proud of that. I don't want him to because to me is like, I don't need that. And I'm really, really glad that I don't. But I think the other key thing that I haven't mentioned is I now work less to earn more. Because I've stopped trying to look left and look right and try and do other things. I realized I already knew the simples, but I was looking for some kind of golden formula. And I already had the golden formula. And I think, Helen, your structure, I'm a very structured person and a systems girl. And you're literally like, do this, do that, do this, do that. And I'm like, okay. And there's no fluffiness around it. And the fluffiness is what I get then a bit confused with sometimes. So I was working very hard to earn what I was earning previously. And I'm now working significantly less hours, but generating more leads. My conversion from leads to enrollment has gone through the roof. So I get more leads and more enrollments. I now average 5 to 7 enrollments a week, whereas I was doing that a month. So it's like crazy numbers.
Big shift, but you got to take the credit, right? Like you say, I give you it, the tools and the support and the community and all the rest of it. I mean, you've helped me just as much back, you know, it's 50-50, but so it makes me want to cry. You know what I mean? To think that like you're just earning great money and you got time to spend at home, like with your family. You don't need no man.
No, I know. I'd like one, as you know, Helen, but that's not going that well.
We're open to it. We're open to it. You got to find a strong man who can deal with a 6-figure earning single mom.
We ended up, I don't know if you remember, Helen, in 2021, we got the same message from the same guy.
Yeah,
really randomly texted me, thought it was a different number saying happy birthday, and then he said, "Oh, I got the wrong number," and I posted it, and Helen was like, "Oh my god, he messaged me." How we got
that's his lead gen tactic.
It was way before you met Stu, wasn't it? It was so cool. We were like, "This is crazy."
Brilliant. Right. Well, it's such an amazing story. You should be really proud of yourself. You've got to put the work in, obviously.
And thank you for I don't know how I ended up in your world, but I'm grateful I did.
Thanks, babes. Right. Let's focus. Ollie. A man is amongst us. People also said to me this week, you only work with women. I was like, no, I don't. I work with loads of guys. So do you want to introduce yourself, Ollie? Tell your Helen story.
Yeah, Ollie Matthews. I've got a company called OJ Health, and I work functional medicine, health coaching, nutrition therapy with entrepreneurs, basically taking people from the brink of burnout just to really truly help them in ways that like they've tried and like been banging their head against a brick wall, like not been able to balance hormones and things like that and sleep through the night and all these different things. And it's been a journey, shall we say. Like Helen and I have been connected for a long while, right? I have probably since you started on the online world, like I think we've been connected.
Through Dan,
a long while through one of my mentors, Dan, a few years back, and I've been toying with the idea of working with Helen for a while, and didn't really take the leap. And then someone told me that I needed to be on LinkedIn, and I'm like, okay, well, who's the person I need to go to for LinkedIn? And that was always going to be Helen. And I remember I was actually a weekend away in York, and actually remember when I signed up, we were having breakfast at this random restaurant that we actually gave a review saying like the gluten-free bread wasn't that nice, but everything else was nice, and they just kicked off. And
those guys.
That's a professional thing to do. Let's not put that on LinkedIn. But anyway, I signed up and started actually doing the work. I mean, I didn't turn up to all the calls. I just was kind of lurking in the background, posting some wins and commenting every now and then. And it was a case of just the consistency and I think belief. Now, I still get leads from elsewhere, but I've got someone who does my social media for LinkedIn. I then post as well. And I feel the consistency of regular posting, the consistency of regularly adding people, the consistency of actually being authentic on there as well, like not trying to be someone I'm not, actually being me, talking about stress, like of myself, of growing a 6-figure business, and traveling the world. Like the last year has been pretty epic. I think I signed up 21, because it was before I went in as a limited company. And I'd done my first full 6-figure year. Travel started opening up. I managed to speak in Miami twice, in Colombia, and like it's kind of cool. Like there was a couple of people. I found there's more British people on there than Americans. Most of my clients come from America, so maybe I just haven't tapped into the American side as much yet. But there was one guy that was at the event in Colombia. We'd whitewater rafted down like this mountain, not down a mountain. We walked down a mountain. We whitewater rafted and stayed in the rainforest. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I've been seeing your posts on LinkedIn." Like I wasn't connected on Facebook, didn't know who he was, and he was connected with me on LinkedIn. Wow. And like recently there's been times which has just completely surprised me. I'm a massive believer in like manifestation, law of attraction, and I'm quite a spiritual guy. And as like you can't see, there's like crystals and stuff behind me, but there was once where I was like, well, there's going to be an ideal client. I was journaling in the morning. There's going to be an ideal client come through on LinkedIn that I've not heard. Like, literally, I added a few people. I've done I only added like 5 people that day, I think it was. And I usually add between 5 or 10. And then suddenly an hour later, someone messages me and says like, oh, you're like a unicorn. Like, I've never seen someone who does functional medicine stuff like and actually gets what it's like to be an entrepreneur, to be a stressed out professional like business owner. I need to speak to you. And an hour later, or 2 hours later, he was on a call, and the next day paid for like 6 months up front, which was absolutely amazing. Just to think of that, gone from a complete stranger to paid up front for 6 months within 24 hours. So it's been pretty powerful. Like, I think like when I look at like record months of what I'd done before, I'd done like the occasional sort of like 10K month, but looking at the consistency of LinkedIn, I've done like multiple 10K months now. I've done like full on. I went for a 6-figure year, and it was like 150,000, which came through, and it's like pretty epic when you like the goal of 100 and you get like 50% more. And done like 20 and 30K months now, which has been pretty powerful. And I think it's just keeping the consistency has been the key thing. Like, there's a couple of times, like when I recently spoke in Miami, I downloaded like your 50 or 30, 50 ideas for posts 50. And things.
Yeah, 50 comes out.
I've done that before, but I just done it again because I thought I'll be on the plane and I'll just, like, I can just watch rubbish or I can create some content. So actually having those ideas, which I've revisited from like a year and a half ago, I've made like 10, 15 posts out of those. And I think just having those ideas for content and just also seeing people's wins, like, because like I've had these like successes, but there's been times when it's been slower. Seeing other people's wins, to know that you can be like believing in the process, has been super powerful. So it's been pretty cool.
Pretty cool. It has been pretty cool, guys, hasn't it? It's just been the wildest ride so far. And I do keep saying this, and you get what you say, is that I've been doing it for 5 years, I'm going to do it for another 5. So it's like there's still plenty to go. But I think the longevity, not just for me, but for you guys, that consistency is showing up. People will watch your journeys. They will be in your stories. They will see you go from where you were to where you're going next, where you go next. And people really buy into that journey. And then just people will just approach you, or they'll recommend you because you'll just be the go-to person for the thing, because they'll be so used to seeing you. So it's so powerful. I'm so excited for all the new people that are joining. Like, I just can't contain my excitement. Like, every time someone joins, I write them on an actual list, right? Because I just think there's something, I like my spreadsheet's fine, but every time, and then every day when I finish, I'm like, I'm coming out of my office and I'm like, I go down the people and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to hear, like, just, getting their names into my psyche so I can start. I know that their journey with us starts now and see where they go next. So very powerful stuff. And hopefully, I said this to one of the girls who joined, because she's absolute Janice. I know Janice Burns. She's joined. She's smashed the challenge. She's gone for it. She's took action. She's got stuff out there. I see her everywhere. And I said to her, you're going to be one of my next big success stories, because I can see it. The people that join, they're just going to take it and run with it. And I said, and you'll be on a Roundtable soon, and, you'll probably be an ambassador and all the rest of it. And it's kind of like, once you're in, like an octopus on your face, can't get rid of me, right? It's like, it takes a lot to consciously uncouple from the family, right? So, just want to say thank you very much for you guys for being here, as always. And I'm sure you wouldn't mind if anyone has got any questions they'd like to ask you directly, they can get in contact with you. That'd be amazing. So as the time of this recording, which I'm sure we'll use many, many, many more times, this launch is nearly done. So hopefully we'll see all the last minute Larrys coming in, and we can get on with helping them to really explode their businesses as well. Right, lots of love. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate your time. Bye, guys.
Nice to see everyone. Bye.